Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, shout out to the True School Sports hoodie on, representing as always. Wanted to talk about just the latest developments in the Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder saga, because it is that. It's a damn saga. So, basically, an article came out on boxing.com, and it's basically Anthony Joshua stating that, Deontay Wilder, he has to step up. He has to step up, and by stepping up, he means stepping up to fight him on the April 13th Wembley Stadium date that's been confirmed for months upon months now, with or without Wilder, that AJ is fighting on that day at Wembley Stadium. So he's saying, step up on that date, or I'm going to fight the winner of Derek Chisora versus Dillian Whyte, which is taking place on December the 22nd at the O2, and he'll be ringside for that. Here's what Joshua had to say in regards to that. So we'll get to the quotes and we'll dissect from there. He said the following, I quote, "I am out again until next year, April the 13th. You know we're ready, Wilder. Whatever, we are ready. Just be realistic on the negotiation because that's your issue, not mine. It's a blessing." And then he goes on to say about the guys who may fight, Chisora and Whyte. "It's a blessing to take myself out of training and go watch these guys go and perform and see it from a different point of view. If I was a betting man, I'd want Chisora to win because he's my guy, Northwest London. I respect him. He's a Finchley Athletic Boxing Club ambassador, and he was a role model when I was coming through. And Dillian Whyte, I want him to win because I want to box him again. Come April the 13th, if Wilder does not step up, they're my two options. Good luck to Chisora. Good luck to Whyte. They're both relevant wins for me." And quote. Now, where I will disagree with Anthony Joshua, because look, I don't agree with everything they do at Matchroom Boxing and Anthony Joshua. What I'll disagree with them is I'll say that if he beats Derek Chisora, I don't look at that as a massive win because Chisora, no disrespect to him, fun fighter to watch, gives you value for your dollar if you go pay your hard-earned money to watch him fight. But he is not a top-level heavyweight, and we know that. But the Dillian Whyte fight, the first one, was arguably the fight of the year in 2016. And it makes all the sense in the world for Dillian Whyte as an opponent, and a fight that he should win because he's gotten better since that fight. And for Chisora, it was made for a good night of boxing. Definitely main event worthy, based on what they did in the last fight. So why not go to the well again? So the way I interpret this is this. Deontay Wilder's fighting Fury, and we'll get into this in another video because Eddie Hearn had some things to say about pay-per-view and the kind of. And the lack of negotiating power Wilder will have if the pay-per-view doesn't do massive numbers, which it's not going to. But for boxing's sake, I wanted to do well because I do love Fury and I have covered this fight, so why not? But right now Anthony Joshua is literally telling Wilder, either you're gonna step up on April the 13th or my career is gonna go on. And they've offered him a $15 million flat fee. They've made Eddie Hearn. All parties involved have tried to talk to Shelly Finkel. That has not happened. So they moved on, and they're still boxing this year alone. Like the Wilder Joshua negotiations have dragged on throughout the whole year. And while they were dragging on, Anthony Joshua has went on to take the O of Joseph Parker, unify that title, and then he fought the guy that Wilder and his team ducked in court and ducked in general in Alexander Povetkin. Whether the American, I don't want to say American, but boxing channels and boxing fanboys in general, whether they want to admit it or not, they did duck the Alexander Povetkin. The fight didn't happen. It could have happened on so many occasions. Joshua could have had every excuse in the book not to fight Povetkin, but what did he do? Not only did he fight Povetkin, but as I broke down in my last video, you guys can go check it out. He not only fought Povetkin, but he had what I believe was his most mature, complete, and effective performance to date. And that right there is showing improvements. That right there is showing his level as a fighter. Because if you would have taken that fight a fight or two earlier, it's a much different fight. But I think the maturation has proved that he's gotten in his last couple of fights has served Anthony Joshua well. So not only is he him and Hearn trying to make the fight happen, but they're still boxing high quality opponents. They're still boxing some of the best guys in the division. Anthony Joshua's already beaten the majority of the top heavyweights, the only top heavyweights he hasn't beaten are the two guys everybody wants to see him fight, which is Fury and Wilder. But Fury's been out for X amount of years, and Wilder doesn't have any realistic negotiation. Him and his team, they're not negotiating on planet Earth, which is where we should be living on if we're talking about dollars. Because like the great urban philosopher DJ Quick said, and if you don't know what urban philosopher is, that's a rapper. DJ Quick said once had a hit song that says, if it don't make dollars, and it don't make sense. And it has to make sense because boxing is a business dressed up as a sport. And the sooner you understand that, boxing fans, the better off you'll be. And you won't get mad when certain fights still happen. As mad. You'll still get mad, but you won't get as mad. And that's what I've learned over the years, being around boxing people, being around the boxing, the sport, being just, more in tune as to what's going on. So, yeah, man, as far as the potential to fight a Dillian Whyte, Derek Chisora, guys of that magnitude, guys of that nature. Again, I've already put my piece in the Chisora fight. I think that's, for Joshua, that's going to be not even in his top 3 best wins if he fights Chisora. But if Chisora beats Whyte, then he's earned it, because Whyte is coming up with a lot of momentum right now after beating Joseph Parker and proving himself as a fighter. And to be quite honest with you, it's in-house fight, so obviously it's going to get made if Whyte wins this fight and Wilder doesn't hike up the skirt. But I would definitely say outside of the champions in the division, because you got to look at it like this, like, okay, Fury, that's a big fight. Wilder, that's a big fight. But those fights aren't happening right now because they're going to be tied up, and they might even do a rematch, depending on how their fight goes. Then you have Joseph Parker, who is really just kind of in a comeback season because he's had two losses this year to both Joshua and Whyte. And then so you go outside the champions, you got to think to yourself, who is the best heavyweight outside the champions? And the only 2 names you're really left with are, at the moment, you have Povetkin, but Joshua beat him. You have Jarrell Miller, who that fight's not happening yet, for whatever the case may be. Maybe I mean, I don't think it's because Eddie Hearn doesn't think Joshua can beat Jarrell Miller. I think Jarrell Miller, as a good, he is a top 10 heavyweight. He's credible. He's definitely solid. But I think we all know that he's going to go into that fight as an underdog. And he really hasn't, no disrespect. I love Jarrell, good friend of mine, but if I'm being honest, Jarrell hasn't really had that. He's had minor baby step-ups. Like, okay, he went from Marius Walk, then he went to Thomas Adamek. But that's not like, to go from Duhaupas to Walk to Adamek, like those are like, okay, if you start here, that's like going from here to here to here. So you're stepping up, but you're not really stepping up too much or that much at all. So we don't even really know, as much as I like Joe, we don't even know how really good he is yet, because we haven't seen him in there with a battle-tested, top-level, young, prime heavyweight. Not be disrespectful, but that's just a reality. So we don't. So of course, nobody thinks that fight with Joshua is competitive right now because he hasn't beaten or fought a credible name in which we could think he could have a good chance against AJ. All we can do is just hypothetical, look at what he might do in his strengths, but we don't know yet. But then it leaves you with Dillian Whyte, and Dillian Whyte, he's fought Joshua already. And if you go back to the first fight with Joshua, that's when they were both younger, fresher, and they both fought for the British title. And he hurt Joshua in that fight. He had his fair share of successes against Joshua in that fight. Even the rounds where he would lose lopsided, he always looked to be a threat in the fight. He never looked like he was, until he got stopped, he never looked like he was out of his element. And then, since that fight, like Joshua's improved, he's improved. He's found out more who he is as a fighter. He's had devastating knockouts over Lucas Brown. He had a close fight with Chisora, which, a lot of people thought he lost, but he got the decision. He fought Joseph Parker in a fight where, I'll be honest with you, I'll be the first one to raise my hand and say, look, I picked against Dillian Whyte because I thought, and you can go back and watch the videos, because I said this for many of my Dillian Whyte videos at the time, I believed that he really was. I didn't see the improvements people were talking about. I just saw a guy that was benefiting off of really good matchmaking from Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing. Hold on, guys. From Matchroom Boxing. So that's how I saw the fight. I'll also be honest in saying that for a long time, but not anymore. For a long time, I've overrated Joseph Parker as a fighter, and I'm not saying he's a bad heavyweight because he's not a bad heavyweight. He's still a very credible heavyweight. I think he's very capable of giving any of the champions a good fight, and we're getting a world title. But I overrated him. I thought he was more talented, better than Dillian Whyte, and ultimately on the night he proved not to be. based on the way he fought and based on the way that Dillian Whyte was able to hurt him in ways AJ couldn't and get to him in ways AJ couldn't. You know, he showed his level on that night. And I think that was a night where I can definitely say Dillian Whyte has arrived and he has separated himself from the other non-champions in the division. He's basically what Everton, I mean, for those of you who watch soccer, which I don't know how many people do, but I'm sure we got a lot of UK viewers, it's almost like soccer, okay? The English Premier League. You have the top teams like Manchester City, Manchester United, you know, your Chelseas of the world. Those are the creme de la creme teams, and it's been that way for like 20 years. You had what they call the Big Six, the top 6 teams. So I think it's bullshit because they're not the most successful teams in English football history, but they're for the last 20 to 25 years, these 6 teams have always been the most successful. Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, Manchester City, Man United, and Liverpool. But then after you get outside that top 6, you have the rest. And my favorite club, which is, you know, Everton Football Club, has been for the last 20 years the best of the rest. And that's where Dillian Whyte is. He is the Everton Football Club of the heavyweight division right now, and he's trying to take that next step up to avenge that AJ loss. So, I mean, that's the fight that I at this point, I did. If you would have asked me 6 months ago before the Parker fight, Brendan, do you want to see Dillian Whyte fight AJ again? I would have said, yeah, but not really. You know, it wasn't it was an entertaining fight, but he really isn't as good as people think he is. But I've come around on Dillian Whyte, and I think I would love to see it again. So yeah, Deontay Wilder, you know, sign the contract, man, because us boxing fans, we want to see the fight. We've been talking about this all year. You know, thankfully you're fighting someone in Fury, someone who I think you're going to have a hard time beating. I've made a video saying that you're not going to beat him. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Anthony Joshua is making his thoughts known that Deontay Wilder needs to step up or he's fighting Joshua or Dillian Whyte. He's letting him know right now. It's the date is November the 1st, 2018. So it's December, January, February, March, April. He's letting you know 5 months in advance what he's going to do if he don't sign a damn contract and get realistic with his negotiations. So I let my thoughts be known. Let yours be known in the comments down below. Hit the like button. Comment, because I like to hear from you guys. Comment what you think about this whole situation. Any videos you may want me to see, any news or topics that I haven't covered that you want to see covered on the channel, let me know in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. Like I say in every single video, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from doing it. So until next time, take care, guys.